Hey there! My name is Shreya and you're watching the StitchedByShreya YouTube channel. On today's episode, I'm going to go ahead and talk to you all about everything I made in 2023. Now, it's been a while since I've made a YouTube video. The last video I made, I kind of treated it like a send-off before I had my child, and he was born in the middle of November, which was a little bit early, so things have just been crazy for us, but things are good. He's healthy, I'm recovering, and I don't know, just like adjusting to life with another member of the family. So I can talk about that more in a knit and chat if anyone's interested, but for now, we're just gonna stick to all the things I made in 2023. So before I go ahead and get into every single thing that I made, I just wanted to talk about the highlights of the year and what all I got up to. So this year I knit, my laptop is here because I had to write it all down. So this year I knit 28,171 yards out of stash. So that's a pretty impressive number. I made 39 finished objects, and of those 39 projects, I'm going to go ahead and break down what everything was. So I made 6 full-sleeved sweaters, like pullovers, 2 cardigans, 5 tees and tanks, 7 adult pairs of socks, 3 shawls, of which one was a sample knit, and then I made 3 baby sweaters, 3 hats for my baby, and 1 pair of socks for him. And then I did quite a lot of gift knitting this year. I made 7 hats for other people, and I made 1 kid sweater for my niece, and I made 2 headbands. So obviously I won't be showing any of the gift knits today, and I'm also not going to show the socks or the baby projects. If you're interested, you can look at some of my previous videos, but I just find that those are maybe not as interesting to talk about today. And instead, we're going to talk about the big garments. So like the tees, tanks, sweaters, and shawls. So of all the projects that I knit this year, I made 14 different test knits. And I think the designers that I tested for the most were Tori Yu and Amy Scher. I've done, I think, 3 test knits for Tori this year, and I did, I want to say 3 or 4 for Amy. I'm not sure. We'll get into it when we start talking about the garments. Before I start pulling each project, I'm going to go ahead and list a couple things I want to assess for each project. So the questions that I have are, was the knitting process enjoyable? Have I worn the finished object a lot, a little, like how much is the wear and tear? Would I use the yarn again? And would I knit this project again? So those are the 4 questions I want to ask for every single thing that I made. And with that, we're going to go ahead and get started. I'm also going to try on every single project as I go. Maybe not the tees and tanks, just because what I'm wearing, it might not work underneath. But the first project that I finished this year is the Shocking Stripes Pullover by Tori Yu. This one I knit using a white stash yarn that I picked up from like a, what is it called? An estate sale. I think I got the yarn for like $3. It's like a silk merino blend. And then the stripe colors, excuse me, let me just finish putting this on. My microphone is underneath, so if there's quite a bit of rustling, I apologize. So the stripe colors are Sorella yarn, and they're different mini skeins from, I think, spring tonals. So I love this one. I actually had to restart it on January 1st or 2nd this last year because I made a huge mistake in the yoke. So I ripped the whole thing out and restarted, and I finished it with like 2 days to spare for the testing deadline. It's a sport weight, garment. So it knit up relatively quick. It's not as fast as like a DK or a worsted, obviously. The fit is great. I have worn it quite a bit. I kind of pulled off a couple of pills here and there. And this one probably needs a wash at some point in the next few months. So have I worn this? Yes, I have. I wear it a lot over dresses for class. And was the knitting process enjoyable? Yes, the stripes were extremely addicting to knit for this project. I think I was like, every day I was like, okay, I'm gonna just knit until the next stripe, knit until the next stripe, knit until the next stripe. And especially for the sleeves, like those kind of zoomed by. And the texture is easy enough where you don't feel like it's tedious to knit through. Then would I use the yarn again? So the base yarn I'm pretty sure is discontinued. So if I could, yes, but I don't necessarily like think that's possible. And the mini skeins, yes, I would use them again. I have a lot of Sewrella yarn in my stash and I have been working through it this year. The only issue I have is that this color right here bleeds into the white. And so now like the base yarn is kind of starting to develop like a light pink tinge to it. Again, I don't really mind it because I like light pink, but I am annoyed that like just around those colors, there's like a little bit of color bleeding. So that is this project. And would I knit it again? I would, but I don't necessarily think I need another one just because the motif is kind of unique. And I don't think I need a second one in my stash, or not my stash. I don't think I need a second one in my wardrobe. But if I found a combination that I thought was like perfect for it, I definitely would. So yeah, or I would make it as a gift for someone else because it's really fun to knit through. So yeah, that is my shocking stripes. Okay, so the next thing that I finished this year was my sweater number 9 by My Favorite Things Knitwear. So I'll just go ahead and take a second to change. Okay. So this is sweater number 9 by My Favorite Things Knitwear. So this one, right off the bat, I really love this sweater. It's great for the holidays because it has like that high neck, turtleneck look. It is really soft and cozy, and it has like a really nice halo because it's Knitting for Olive heavy merino plus mohair. And so this one took me a little longer than it should have to finish, but it was a very quick knit once I was really in the zone with it. I don't know if I would necessarily recommend this pattern though, because 1, it's not really size inclusive, and 2, it doesn't have any shaping. It's a great beginner's pattern, especially if you're kind of intimidated about doing short rows and shaping and things like that. However, it does like ride up in the back for me quite a bit. I'm going to stand up so you can see, but like the back, it kind of rides up like that. And because there's no shaping, I had to kind of thread in a different colored yarn so that I would know what the front or the back was, although it wouldn't really make a difference because there's no shaping. So the front and back are identical. Okay, so was the knitting process enjoyable? Yes and no. I mean, it was like a little bit monotonous because it's like stockinette all throughout. And also since it was on bulkier needles, it was not as smooth of a knitting process. Like, yes, it does work up really fast, but it doesn't necessarily go that much faster than like a sport or a DK project does for me. I think because the bigger needles, like the part where the cord and the needle tip join, there's sometimes a little bit of like, you have to push a little bit to like bring the stitches up the needle. So yes, it was a fast knit, but I don't know if like it was as fast as like other projects are necessarily for me. Let's see. Have you worn the finished object? Yes, I wear it a lot. I wear it again, like over my dance dresses. I wear it on its own. Like I wore it with jeans quite a bit, high-waisted jeans. I love it. It's a great, as I said, it's like a great holiday sweater. I could see myself making something with a high turtleneck again. It's kind of like a funnel neck, so I could tack it down like that as well, but I feel like it doesn't look as nice. Like it looks nicer as a funnel neck, but then it's also kind of floppy. I don't know. I might have to just reblock the neck part by itself. But yeah, Would I use the yarn again? Yes, I love knitting for Olive heavy merino, and I also love knitting for Olive mohair. I think the mohair is definitely my favorite mohair that I've ever used. And the heavy merino, it's not necessarily the softest, but I do like it, and I would see myself using it for like worsted weight projects in the future. And then finally, would I knit this project again? No, I wouldn't. Just because there's so many other things that are similar to this that have better shaping. So, and she has come out with a sweater number 9 light that does have shaping. And the light version I think is like a DK. So I might make that at some point in the future. So yeah, that is sweater number 9. Next up, we have my first cardigan. This one was the first cardigan I ever made, and it is the Gown Cardigan by Sumin On. This is knit out of Holst Garn, held single in the shade Charcoal, and I got the buttons for this project from La Mercerie. This, I think, is my favorite make from 2023. It was a test knit for Sumin, and they are just such a wonderful person. To have come out with this pattern as their very first knitting pattern, I think is incredible. And they had a really lengthy test deadline. And while the knitting process was not always enjoyable for me, the finished object was well worth it. So let me get into the first question, which is, was the knitting process enjoyable? No. And it's not because of the pattern, although it was tedious. This pattern is knit bottom up, seamed, and that was hard for me because I just, one, didn't know how to gauge how big I had to make something when it's bottom up. But I think the thing that made it harder was the yarn. And the yarn was Holst Garn Super Soft, and I knit from a cone. And I didn't realize how much I disliked knitting with Holst Garn. Now, there's a lot of people who love it, and then there's me who I thought I was gonna love it, and then the texture was actually just like so rope-like for me that it was very uncomfortable on my hands. Because it was a test knit, I knew I had to get it done, but I was just struggling through the process almost the entire time because my hands would hurt, it didn't have enough give. So I think if I were gonna knit from a Holst Garn cone again in the future, I would probably wind it off, soak it, and then knit with it. This particular colorway, it just, every time I would wash it, it would just leach like a lot of black or blue dye from it. Every time that I would wash this, it kind of like bled a lot of dye, which I think is normal for Holst. But let's see. Have I worn the finished object? I wear this at least once a week, usually 2 to 3 to 4 times a week. So I would definitely 100% knit this again. And Sumin is coming out with an Aran weight version of this cardigan, which I'm planning to test knit. So if I can do this one again, I would, but I think there's just so many things that I want to make that it might not be anytime soon. All right, with that, I'm going to take a break because the baby's awake and I think I might need to go feed him. All right, the baby has been fed. He's on a walk now, so I'm going to go ahead and keep going. So I finished with my gown cardigan, and now let me go ahead and, oh gosh, okay. I need to open my Ravelry to check everything because it's just a little tough to kind of organize everything. Okay. All right. Yeah, sorry about that. I don't even know what I said. So I had to look at my Ravelry for everything because I just have a hard time remembering the order in which I did things. This year has been obviously a very busy one, so yeah. Anyways, so the next thing that I finished this year was my Uptown Tee. This is a test knit for Tori Yu, and I'm using Madeline Tosh 0.0 merino singles, and it's like 80% merino, 20% mohair. So let me go ahead and just try this on for all of you. This was a very quick knit for me. I think it took me maybe like less than a month to finish. The original pattern had just a regular cast on neckline, but I traded it out for an I-cord, and it has a fun texture on the sleeves, and then the bottom is a I-cord bind off as well. This used about 2 skeins of yarn. Now about this project, let's see. Was the knitting process enjoyable? Yes, I think this was like one of the fastest yokes I've ever completed. I think the detail on the shoulders made the raglan section really, really fast. And then once I was done with the sleeves, I just kind of like sped through the body basically. Have I worn the finished object? I think I've worn it like 2 or 3 times, but I definitely haven't worn it as much as I would like to. Now that I'm trying it on, I actually quite like the fit, and I think it would work well with like my outfit of choice these days, which is leggings. However, I probably wouldn't wear it just right now because I am breastfeeding and I just don't want it to get messy. But I do like it. It's nice. It's a nice fit. It looks pretty nice. I mean, I wouldn't wear it with a t-shirt underneath. Well, there is one thing about this. It is a little bit prickly because it has mohair content in it. So I do have to wear like a tank top underneath, which is what I usually do anyways for most of my knitwear, because I do find that my décolletage area is a little bit sensitive. Like even right now, it feels a little bit scratchy right here. So I would probably still wear something underneath here, not a black t-shirt though. So yeah. Would I use this yarn again? I don't think so. I like single ply yarn. I just don't know if I would use this particular one again because of the mohair content. I think I've used single ply yarn, but it was all merino or it was a different like blend. I might be interested. And would I knit this project again? Probably not. Not that there's anything wrong with the pattern. I just, again, with like details like this, I just feel like you only need to really make it once and then you have it. Now, if it were just like the raglan shaping in a t-shirt, I would probably make it again. But with this particular detail, I don't think I need another one. So, but there's nothing wrong with the pattern. I love it. It was so much fun. I just only need one. So yeah. The next project that I did this year, it was another test knit. This one was for Emily Curtis, and this is the Color Tip Tee. I knit this using Pearl Soho linen quill for the body. I think it's oatmeal gray, and then I think the neckband is also Pearl Soho. I think the colorway is Rose Granite, and then the green that I have on the edgings for the sleeves and the pocket is Kremka Soul Wool Lazy Linen in the shade green. Now this t-shirt is absolutely adorable. It fits really, really, really well. I think I knit the size 5 or 6. I don't remember. I can put the details here if I remember to later, but I knit the size 5 or 6. It is like maybe hitting my belly button or like an inch or 2 below my belly button. So at my current comfortability when it comes to garments, I'd probably make it longer because it even is a little like it just hits the hem of my high-waisted jeans sometimes. I think I was in a rush to finish it because I had already missed the deadline, and Emily was like, oh, it's okay, like I'll give you a few extra days, like the release isn't for a couple more days. So I luckily had a little bit more time to finish it, but I think I would make another one and I'd make it longer. And maybe I would size up for like a looser fit. Like this, the shoulders are perfect for me and the sleeves are perfect, but if I wanted a slightly oversized look, I would size up, or I would do the wide shoulder adjustment for it. This is a lovely pattern. It's really nice, well shaped, and like the sleeve cap shaping is really good as well. The pocket instructions are really fun, and it just, there's an opportunity for a lot of different color options. So that is the Color Tip Tee. Was the knitting process enjoyable? Yes, but at the time I was in the first trimester of my pregnancy and I was super nauseous. So I just like wasn't able to knit as much as I would want to, but the process was still fun. Have I worn the finished object? I think this is probably one of the t-shirts I've worn the most. It goes well with jeans, and that was like my outfit of choice, was t-shirt and jeans throughout the summer. Would I use the yarn again? Yes, I would. Maybe not for garments, because I do find linen quill to be just a little bit itchy here, and that might be the alpaca content, I think. But I do have quite a bit of linen quill in my stash. I love working with it. I love knitting with it. So I'll probably use it again soon, this year probably. And would I knit this project again? Yes, I have plans. I am either, it's like a good 2-skein project. So I could do it in like one color, one variegated color. I don't know. Emily made one in lamp black from Granui Co. And I've been thinking about it for a really long time. I really want one like that. Or I'll just use like some of the 2-skein fingering weight quantities that I have in my stash for it. So that is the Color Tip Tee. And if I've somehow started talking a lot faster, it's because I have a limited amount of time. They're on a walk. I don't know how long he's gonna last on the walk, so I just wanna make sure I get through this today while the lighting is still good and while I don't have any distractions in the house. All right, next. My next finished object is a Lentos sweater. The Lentos sweater is by Jana Hietalo, or Yana, I'm not sure actually. This is a very popular raglan shape design that has a very open gauge. Open in the sense like you can use a fingering and a mohair, but it's knit on like US 10s, I think. So it is quite a quick knit. I knit this using Through the Wardrobe Yarn Company Fairy Tale Sock in the shade, oh gosh, what is the shade? Rapunzel, maybe? I'll put it down here if I remember. Rapunzel. And the mohair, I use Surrey from Sobrella Yarn, and the Surrey is in shade Maison. So this took me about, I want to say 2 or 3 months to knit up. I cast it on at the same time as my friends Jack, Sharon, and Serena, who I've done many knits with this year. I think Jack and Serena finished first. I finished sometime in like July or June. Probably June, actually. I think I finished in June. And I really love the Lento. I really love the fit of it. It's very nice and soft. And this is the first project I used Surrey with. This is the first project I knit Surrey yarn. Okay, this is the first time I knit with Surrey. There we go. That was hard. This is the first time I knit with Surrey yarn, and I really loved working with Selena's yarn as well. Selena is a dyer based in Norway, and we become friends through Instagram over the past couple of years. And I really love her yarn. It's absolutely beautiful. It has a very subtle variegation to it. Now, the questions are, was the knitting process enjoyable? Yes, because it works up very fast. I think I could see myself like hyper focusing on a Lento in the future and finishing it in like a week probably. I did have to modify the short rows, and I think I modified the raglan a little bit to just like be a 2-stitch raglan. And if you'll notice, my neckband has kind of like become wider with time. I might like make another one and add an elastic in the folded neckband. The sleeves, I don't know if I had decreases or not in this. I don't even remember actually. It feels like such a long time that I finished it. And I think I'd probably add more short rows because I do feel like it kind of lifts in the back a little bit again. Although now that I stood up, I don't know if that's the case. Have I worn this finished object? Yes, I've worn it a lot. I finished it in the summer though, so I didn't really get to wear it until like middle, end of fall, and I wore it on top of like outfits for dance class. Because of the Surrey content, it does have a tendency to shed, and I noticed myself like picking up balls, like little fur balls basically, whenever I'd wear it. And so that was a little bit annoying. Like I'm wearing black leggings and now they're covered in Surrey and mohair, but that's part of the course of knitting and using a lot of mohair and Surrey in my garments. So Would I knit this again? Yes. I probably do it with a couple of different combinations. I might make one without any fuzziness. I might make one in Newtoden. I don't know yet. Options are endless. And would I use the yarn again? Yes, 100% yes. This has started my love affair with Surrey yarn. And even the base fingering, I really, really, really enjoyed it. So yeah, that is my Lentos sweater. So next is my Sophie Shaw. And I knit this using this super fun yarn that I picked up in Portland a few years ago during my bachelorette party at Pearl Fiber Arts. I think it's in like the art district of downtown Portland. And the dyer is Fierce Fibers, which I don't know if they're dyeing yarn anymore. And the shade is Bleeding Heart. So I used 2 skeins of yarn, so it actually fades all the way up to the middle here. So it's like purple to a reddish pink. And then I just joined in from the reddish pink side and finished again with purple. This one was really fun. The Sophie Shawl is like, I don't know, the pumpkin spice latte of shawls, I want to say. So this is how I would wear it if I did wear it, which I haven't worn it yet because, I don't know. It's a very bright color and it's not necessarily something I can pair easily with things that I'm wearing. Although with this all black outfit, I think it could work. Was the knitting process enjoyable? Yes, because I was on vacation when I was knitting it and I didn't really want to think. So the only thing I had to think about was like every 6 rows increase. And so in that sense, it was like enjoyable and easy. Have I worn the finished object? Not a single time, not once. I think if I made the Sophie Shawl again, I would probably make it in like gray or something not neon or bright like this, but I do really like it. Like I like seeing it, I just haven't used it. Would I use the yarn again? Would I use a DK yarn again? Yes. Would I use this specific yarn again? I can't, it's discontinued. And would I knit this project again? Yes, although I don't know when, because it's right now, this kind of like kicked off my interest in knitting shawls. And although this is more like a long scarf, I am interested in knitting shawls with like designs now. So I don't know if I would knit this one again, at least not for a while. And maybe I would knit it as a gift because I can see other people really, really, really enjoying having a shawl like this or a scarf like this. So yeah, that is my Sophie shawl. It's very fun and very pretty. I just haven't had a chance to wear it. And like, I guess I could wear it like this or something. But again, it's like, what am I going to do with all this extra material here? Do I just like tie it like this and wear it? It's kind of cute maybe. I don't know. It's fine. Okay. Next was another tank top that I knit with my friends. This is the mini mock neck tank by Jessie Made Design. It is a top-down tank top, and I knit this using, again, Through the Wardrobe Yarn Co. And the top color is, I believe, Rapunzel, and the bottom color is Goose Girl. I don't think she intended on making it a fade, but I faded the yarns together. It kind of looks really obvious at the bottom, but I did start the fade like up here, and then slowly it came down to a green at the bottom. So I'm gonna go ahead and try this on. It will look a little bit wonky because I'm wearing a t-shirt. All right, so I love the fit of this. It fits amazingly. I think it's a really beautiful basic that I have in my wardrobe now. And I can see myself making this in multiple different colors. Like I could make it in a black, I could make it in a gray, I could make it in a red, have it as like an accent piece. It's really beautiful. So the fit also is really great. Mine has a bit of negative ease. I don't think I hit gauge. I think I was a little bit tighter. So I might make it in a size up and have it be a little bit bigger. One thing that I have an issue with is that the straps are kind of narrow for me and my bra straps tend to start here. So I would like it to kind of go out a little bit more because I do not like it when my bra straps show, although it's not like the end of the world. And then I did lengthen mine as I do because this was quite cropped. So I lengthened mine a bit and it goes to like my belly button or a little bit below my belly button. Would I knit this again? 100%. Was the knitting process enjoyable? The construction of the top part was really fun. And then once you get in the round, it's just stockinette. So yes, it was enjoyable. Have I worn the finished object? I think I wore it at least 5 or 6 times this summer. It goes really well with like a skirt underneath, or it goes well with a dress, or it's like a great layering piece. It's almost like a vest. So yes, it's really, really lovely and fun to wear. Would I use the yarn again? Yes, I would absolutely buy from Selena again. And if you can see it in this one, the variegation doesn't really pull for her. And I really like that style where the variegation is there, but it's not like a highly variegated and prone to pooling type of dye. And then would I knit this project again? I think I said it already, but yes. Okay, so that's a mini mock neck. Next, I made another test knit. This is for Woodlands Knits, and this is the Wayfarer tee. So I knit this using Knitting for Olive cotton merino in the shade Rose Mouse, which is like a really nice grayish purple color. And the fabric is lovely. The drape is lovely. I'm gonna go ahead and just put it on right now. So this garment was a test knit, and the test period was like 3 weeks long, and I finished it within the test period. That is a little bit of a tight deadline for me as far as test knits go. I don't know if I would apply or take part in another test knit that has such a short deadline in the future, but I really, really, really liked the garment. It is another basic raglan. It doesn't have any like significant compound raglan shaping like some other raglan patterns do, but it is a really nice pattern, and it used Knitting for Olive cotton merino. I think would I make this again? I could. It's a nice basic, so yes, I definitely could make it again. It's not like boxy necessarily, like it has like a good drape, and I think that might be more the yarn than anything else. I would absolutely use Knitting for Olive cotton merino again. I think some people feel like it might have like a lotion or like a moisturized type of feeling to the yarn, but I absolutely loved it. The one thing is that if you have like one stitch that has a little bit more tension than some other stitches, it might not block out evenly. Like it might just retain that weird sort of shape to it. And then the other thing I noticed is that I did an Italian bind off, and my bind off hem edge is like a little bit flared. So that's just probably the cotton content of the yarn that is like making it a little bit more sticky and flared out. So let's see, what are my questions? Was the knitting process enjoyable? Yes and no. I think yes, because I like knitting raglans, but no, because it was on a deadline, and it was a relatively quick deadline. And towards the end, I definitely felt like this pressure to like, oh my God, I got to get it done. So in that sense, no, but if I didn't have a deadline, I don't know how long this would have taken me, probably forever. Have I worn the finished object? Quite a bit. Summer in California lasts a really long time, so this was like a very appropriate garment to have throughout the fall. Would I use the yarn again? Yes, I already bought yarn for another project. I already bought cotton merino for another project, so I'm excited to use that. And would I knit this project again? Yes, but I'm not like, there's so many designs out there, so I don't necessarily need to knit another t-shirt raglan. But yeah, I probably would knit it again. We'll see. I don't know when. At some point, maybe. Next, we have my first unspun garment of the year. Probably my only one this year, unfortunately. But it is the Matthew Pullover by Amy Sher. This is based on like Anne of Green Gables. I think Amy has a couple of designs based off of that book, and this is the Matthew's Pullover. So go ahead and put it on. It's a really big, cozy sweater. So I knit this out of Nutiden Held Double. I think the colorway is Jera, and it has a lovely like cable design yoke. It's bottom up. And if I stand up, it's like quite long on me. It's like lower than high hip. It's like it's a long one. I wanted it to be a very nice, big, oversized type of fit. And it's quite lovely. I enjoy it. The cabling goes down. It's like a nice drop shoulder. So yeah. This pattern, I think Amy gave at least 12 weeks for the pattern to get knit up. And yeah, I don't know, there's not much to say. I really enjoyed working with Unspun. I really enjoyed working on this project. I think I wouldn't knit this again, but that's because, as I've mentioned, anything with like a motif like this, like I feel like I only really need one of in my wardrobe. I don't need multiples. So I have one. I love it. One thing to note, the neckband does feel a little bit wide, so I did add elastic thread into the base and into the bind off. And then Nutiden is not next to skin soft for me, so I usually wear this layered with something underneath. But because it's so oversized and cozy, I can wear so many things underneath, and it's just perfect. Was the knitting process enjoyable? Absolutely. I went through like each cabled section front and back in one day. And then have I worn the finished object? I have quite a bit. You can kind of see the pilling on it. I've depilled it once. I think like I'll probably hit it with another depill towards the end of the season. Would I use the yarn again? Yes, I love working with Unspun. I have quite a bit in my stash. I'm planning to knit a few more Unspun garments next year. And would I knit this project again? No, but I might, just without the cable design. Like if I just wanted another like nice drop shoulder. Amy also has the building blocks drop, which is a stockinette version of this, I want to say. So I might make that again. I made the vest version of the building block drop, and I might make the full sleeve version of that as well. So yeah, that is the Matthew pullover. Oh, so cozy. And the thing about Nutiden is it's just so warm. So even in those few seconds, I feel like nice and toasty. It's a pretty warm day today, so I don't necessarily need something this toasty, but I love it. Okay, next. Perfect. We're at the home stretch. Only a few more left, which is bittersweet, but also exciting because I'm excited to talk about 2024 as well. So next I had another test knit for Tori U. This is the Skyline Pullover, and this is a saddle shoulder construction. It is fingering and lace, or you can use a DK yarn, and that would be great. It has a really lovely 3x1 rib on the saddle shoulder. And let me just go ahead and put this on. Oh yes, this is amazing. Okay, so this pullover was a test knit. As I mentioned, it's knit out of Through the Wardrobe Yarn Co. I think this was my year of knitting with all of Selena's yarn. I don't think I have any more of her yarn in my stash, actually. I think I finished all of it. So this colorway is Sleeping Beauty. I used the Sleeping Beauty colorway in both the fingering weight and in the mohair. So, and you can see a nice like 3x1 rib detail throughout, and it hits about like my high hip, which is the perfect length I think for me for this type of pullover. And the neckline is not too large, like it doesn't hug my neck, which is perfect because the mohair might make it a little bit itchy. Was the knitting process enjoyable? Absolutely. There was something highly addicting about this garment, and I think I knit the sleeves in about 2 or 3 days total, which is very, very fast for me. And I think it was just the combination of the yarn and the design that just made it absolutely enjoyable. Have I worn the finished object? Yes, I think I finished this sometime in September, I want to say. Let's see. Yeah, I finished it in September, and I've gotten like maybe like 6 or 7 wears out of it. I could wear it more, but I find it to be very precious, so I want to take care of it as long as I could, or as long as I can. And then would I use this yarn again? 100%. I already have my eye on another colorway from Selena, Dreaming of Candy Unicorns. I want to get that in like every single base when she releases it because it just looks so stunning. And then would I knit this project again? 100% yes, absolutely. There's something about the basic design of it where with just a little bit of like interest in the 3x1 rib. And I think maybe I could do it in a solid color, or I could use another variegated combination, or I could use it in a DK yarn, but I would 100% make this again. It's just stunning. I love it so much. Next up, I have the Satsuki Sweater by Sari Nordlund. This pattern is in Amirisu Fall Winter 2021, and I knit this using John Arbin textiles in the shade The Beautiful Ones. So this pattern, this was a knit along with my friends Jack, Serena, and Sharon. We all bought the same yarn and then we all made different patterns with it. So I picked this one from Amirisu and I really, really enjoyed knitting this once I got into the hang of it. So I finished the yoke sometime in March and then I never picked up the pattern until like right before I finished it, which for me, that was a little bit of a disappointment that it took me so long to finish it because once I finished it, I've worn it a ton. I unintentionally made like straight sleeves and then rapid decreased at the end because I just didn't read the pattern and I forgot to do the decreases. And then the body, it hits a little bit higher than high hip for me. So like high hip is here and then this is somewhere between my belly button and there. So if I had to go back, I might have lengthened it, but I don't think I'll do that for this pattern. The Totoro V's are really cute. I kind of wish they were a little bit lower, but it's fine. It's done. What do I have to say about this? I like the design. It was like a taster of Sari Nordlund's patterns. I really want to make more of them this year. I have a lot of her patterns already and I have stash yarn to make a lot of them. So I'd like to just kind of delve into her catalog a little bit more this year. My only gripe with the pattern is not the pattern actually. My only gripe with this project was the yarn. And it wasn't even while working with the yarn. It was after I had started wearing it. This yarn pills like crazy. I have had to depil it like almost every other time that I wear it. I don't think there's any pills on it right now because I haven't worn it since I depilled it last, but it's just frustrating. Like I would wear it twice and my whole underarm would just be full of pills. And so for that reason, I probably would not work with the yarn again, but everything else about the pattern and everything was enjoyable. Would I knit this pattern again? No, because I don't think I need another pattern with the V's. But if I were just to make like a top-down garment, maybe, without any motif in it, and then was the knitting process enjoyable? Yes, but then I think I like got caught up in test knitting and like completely forgot about it. So it wasn't like it grabbed my attention to come back. As far as wear goes for this, I have worn this quite a bit. Like I think I've worn it at least 10 times or so. And I'm just disappointed that it pills a lot because I would like to wear it more, but unfortunately I'm limited by the fact that I don't like wearing something that shows a ton of pills all the time. So yeah, that's it for Satsuki. Lovely pattern, but unfortunately the yarn is just not my jam. The next pattern that I have is the Stripy Turtle Tank by Emily Curtis. This, again, I knit with my friends Sharon, Jack, and Serena. They knit it for Lambtown. I unfortunately couldn't make it, but I decided I wanted to make this with them anyways. So this I knit with the main color of Explorer Knits and Fibers. I think the main color is Fig, and then I used various different contrasting stripes from stash from either mini skeins or from previous projects. I love this pattern. I'm going to make another one this year. It is just the most fun and addicting thing to knit. I think stripes are just absolutely amazing. And I just love how the colors came out. This is really not my wheelhouse of colors. As you can see, most of my things are pink and gray and like pastels. But this was something so out of my wheelhouse, and I just love how the colors and everything came together. Let's see. Was the knitting process enjoyable? Yes, I just zoomed through it. I think once I saw like one color repeat, I was like, all right, we're gonna keep going over and over and over because it was just very fun to knit. Have I worn the finished object? I have quite a bit actually. I wear it like a vest most of the time. Like I don't usually wear it by itself. I usually wear it with the dress underneath, or I wear it with a button down or something like that. But I love it. And would I use this yarn again? Absolutely. I think the 80/20 superwash merino nylon base is like one of my favorites to knit with. So I would definitely use that again. And that's what the Denali sock is from Explorer Knits. And I have quite a lot of that in my stash as well. And would I knit this project again? Yes, I would knit multiples of this project. I just think it's so flattering. And I'd probably still make it longer. Like I think it goes a little bit past my belly button, and that's fine. But if I wanted to wear it just as like a standalone top, I'd probably make it a little bit longer. But that being said, it's so sweet. And I have like one stripe that's variegated, and I think that's just also a really fun touch to it. So yeah, that's my stripy turtle tank. Next up, I have my stria cardigan. This is by Andrea Mowry, Drea Renee Knits, and I knit this using Knit Picks palette. This is the second cardigan that I knit this year, and this was just something I set out to finish this year. I started it January 1st last year, or 2 years ago now, 2022, and I was like, I have to finish it in 2023. There's no excuse, no exceptions. This process was not enjoyable. It had times where I was like flying through it, and then for vast majority of it, it was sitting in a project bag in the back of my knitting room. So I don't know. There's something about the half fisherman's rib that makes it such a beautiful design to just have. And it's like very squishy and very lovely and plush. And like having it as a finished garment is amazing. But the knitting process was just very tough at times. I think it's because it's a fingering weight cardigan, and the wearability of it is very high for me. But I think I just got like tired of knitting it until I just decided I'm gonna sit down and finish it this year. So I use Knit Picks palette. The main color is Oyster Heather, and the contrast colors are let's see if I can do this. The contrast colors are Salsa Heather, Cayenne, oh gosh, Masala, and Holly Berry. Yeah, that's it. Okay, Salsa Heather, Cayenne, Masala, and Holly Berry. So it's again a pretty autumnal cardigan, and the buttons I got from La Mercerie. They're just wooden buttons, and they're really cute. I think I did say I would do a video just on this cardigan at some point. I have no idea if that's ever going to happen, but when I was knitting this, originally I was going to do a double knit button band, but I think with the nature of half fisherman's rib, the double knit button band would have just kind of like been a little bit rippled. I think I either needed to size down needles even more, and that was just going to be extremely tedious. So I just ripped it out and I just did the 1x1 rib, and I'm not unhappy about it. I'm pretty happy with the finished look. So that is my stria cardigan. This was the last garment that I finished of 2023, and I didn't really get much wear out of it because I think I finished it and a week later I gave birth. So I haven't been able to wear it much. I kind of wear it around the house right now, and I'll probably wear it a lot more next year. Would I use this yarn again? Yes, I love Knit Picks palette. I don't know if I would hold it single again. Like I might hold palette double for a garment in the future, but I really, really enjoyed it. However, I would not knit this pattern again. I think I will knit half fisherman's rib again, absolutely, but I just don't know if I would do this pattern again just because of how long it took me the first time. I think with my knitting speed now and what I know about knitting, I would probably be able to finish this much faster, but whoever decides to knit this pattern, just know it's a slog. It takes a long time. Don't be frustrated with yourself if it takes you forever, because it took me forever, but now I'm just like, I love it. I love the finished object. There are some patterns that like the process is just not going to be the most enjoyable, but the finished object is going to be well worth it. And this is that for me. And finally, we're going to move on to my last finished object of the year, which I haven't shown on the podcast in a long time, and it is my Nicole Shaw. This is another pattern by Amy Sher. I started this in February this year. I just impulsively cast on this first little garter section. And then I think like maybe a month or two, I finished this in December, but I think like maybe in October this year, I decided I'm just going to pick up and start working on the lace section. And then I was just like pretty addicted to knitting it. I brought this with me to the hospital for my recovery postpartum, and I wasn't really able to knit that much just because of some complications. I had a lot of carpal tunnel, so I wasn't really able to hold my needles, and I was just like admiring it in the hospital, and I was like, you know, I'm really gonna look forward to finishing this as soon as I can. And so I did. I don't really know how to wear shawls, but this is how I would wear it for now. I haven't even taken finished object photos of this yet because it just came off the blocking mats like 2 days ago. So that is my Nicole Shaw by Amy Sher. And the yarn that I used, the main color, this golden color is, oh gosh, I don't remember. Everything in this shawl was made from like destashed or estate sale yarn. So the golden color is Brown Sheep Nature Spun in the shade Sunburst. And then there's like a grayish natural color that's in the garter section, and that is Bartlett Yarns 2-ply, which is like an Aran weight. And it is in medium sheep's gray. So yeah, that is my last finished object of 2023. And this specific shawl has really made me want to make like a lot more shawls this year. So you might see that in my 2024 videos because I have quite a few shawl quantities in my stash now. So yeah, that is it for the garments and the shawls. And I'm like pretty amazed with my progress as a knitter this year. So just to like highlight or just to recap a little bit, this was my most productive knitting year so far. I definitely took on a lot more test knitting, and I just feel like I increased my knitting speed as a whole. I knit a lot like on the go as well. Like I took my knitting to work often, and I also developed the skill of being able to knit without looking at my knitting, specifically for stockinette, like knits and purls, not for texture. For texture, I usually still have to look at my work. And I came up with a couple of like stats or like superlatives, I guess, for my own work. But first, the most popular designers that I knit this year, I knit 5 patterns from Tori Yu. I didn't talk about like the gifts that I did, but I'd made 2 Manhattan hats this year as gifts. So I made 5 of her patterns, 3 of which were test knits. And then I made 4 petite knit patterns. 3 of those were gifts. I made a Monday Sweater Junior, and I made 2 Oslo hats as gifts. And I also made my Sophie Shaw. And then I made 3 Amy Sher patterns. I think I made the shawl, and then I made 2 test knits for Amy. And now the superlatives. Let me just keep my laptop so I don't have to keep looking to the side. So my longest project was by far my stria cardigan. This took almost 2 years to finish. But I think if I had to count in like actual knitting time, it probably took closer to like 3 to 4 months of like an hour or two a day, maybe. That sounds like a lot. I don't know. Sometimes like each row would take me 30 minutes because there was just so many stitches on the needles. So that's my longest project. My most worn finished object was my gown cardigan by Sumin On. And I wear that at least 3 or 4 times a week. I would make another one in a heartbeat if I didn't know how long it was going to take me. It would probably take me 8 to 10 weeks to finish. My most enjoyable to knit was my Skyline Pullover by Tori Yu. I think I just really, really had a fun time making it. It was the perfect combination of pattern and yarn that just made it like something I never wanted to put down. And my favorite yarn combination was, surprisingly, the Stripy Turtle Tank by Emily Curtis. I think just the way that the colors and everything worked together in that final garment made it just very addicting and fun to knit. And I have so many ideas for what I'd like to make in the future. So yeah, that is everything I made in 2023. I do have plans for 2024, but that's not what this video is about. I'm really, really happy with all the things that I've made. I feel like I've really knit for improving my closet, improving my wardrobe, and I'm looking forward to doing more like that in the future. If you liked any of the garments that I showed you today, please leave a comment down below. Let me know if you'd like to see a knit-in chat and if I can just talk to you guys more on a casual level about like what I've been up to these past couple months. And I'm hoping to have a 2024 planning video and like my Make 9 and my goals for the year. I hope to have that out in a couple weeks as well. Have a great 2024, everyone. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you all soon. Bye!